Welcome to the trailer for The Magic of David Corsaro. Now, as I see it, all trailers for Magic DVDs nowadays have to have three things in them. Your card, the King of Hearts.
Get the out of here,
Is that your card?
Wow. You're hot.
But not this DVD. The trailer for this DVD is going to be a little different. I'm going to let the material speak for itself. Check it out.
I remember the days when a family would stay at the lake. Miss Judy had a beauty that no man could ever mistake. Well, I made up my mind, I don't care what I gotta go through. I said I'm gonna...
You know, every time I see David perform, I always think the same thing. That is a nice suit he's wearing.
Hey everybody, I'm David Corsaro, and it's time to be awesome. We are here at the FISM convention in Batavia, New York, and we just got done, let's see, the past couple of days I've watched Shawn Farquhar give a lecture, which absolutely brought the house down, and then tonight did a performance, which absolutely brought the house down. So I asked him if he'd be nice enough to come on the show, and he agreed. So Shawn, thank you very much.
Thanks, David.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you very much. One of the things I want to get into the main topic that I want to talk to you about in a few seconds. But first off, for anybody who has seen some of your material, the stuff that you taught in the lecture, the stuff that you did in your performance, it's very obvious that it's nothing that you worked out last week.
No.
It's stuff that you've been doing for 20 plus years.
I'm not that lecture of this might work or this is no. It's my lecture is called Bread and Butter. It's the stuff that I made my living off of. That I decided that it was time to let it go so that other people can do my magic. And I worked every in and out, every moment and every mistake, every gem where you can get an extra bit. Yeah, I've done it for so long, I can do it in my sleep.
And where were you doing a lot of these things?
Trade shows. I was working on cruise ships, but I only worked one day out of 7. Well, a couple of ships, I was one day out of 14, and the Norwegian Sky was 1 out of 8. So I had nothing else to do, so I'd fly off the ship, and if I scheduled it right, I could do a show at the start of a week and at the end of the other cruise. So I could have 15 days in the middle where I could fly pretty much anywhere in the world, work a trade show. I worked for a company called Ormed Information Systems Limited, Icon, and for Konica. Only had 3 clients, but I had them for years. And sometimes 50, 60 shows in a year, each one of those clients. And then their customer appreciation things. So I had plenty of work and niche market, really understood the products. None of them competed against each other. And so I was in a lot of the same halls at different times. And I'm big on getting to meet staff and get to know those people. So I'd go in there and they would be setting our booth first because it was the cool magic guy that stole, the head guy's watch 3 times now. And if they set the booth quicker, then, we got special perks and I would do magic tricks for them.
Which is not an accident on your part. You're doing this for a very specific reason.
Yeah, I want to be set up and ready to go. Want to be making my money and helping the client. Client comes in and goes, why are we set up when our competitor is still unpacking this? Shawn did tricks for them. Let's keep Shawn. End of the day, they've got hundreds of booths to strike, and you could be sitting in the hall for up to 12 hours waiting for the booth to be all struck and packaged, and we'd be like 3rd or 4th. Of course, there are people who paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to be first, but 3rd or 4th, it was just their preferences. And they come swarming over and pack us down, and they knew that I'd stay around, show them a little bit of magic. Well, the other people were getting annoyed, going, if the magic guy would stop doing tricks for them, they come down, break down our booth. Yeah.
But you know what? Your clients, and that's not something that I think clients expect when they want to hire the magician to work the booth. They don't realize the benefits they're going to get in other areas besides just drawing the crowd.
Added bonus, the added value, the things you bring in that are extra really make a difference.
Do you sell that idea to your prospective clients or no?
No, because I don't have prospective clients. I don't take on a lot.
Don't get any prospective clients, and you're fine.
And you're fine. I don't. In fact, a lot of people when they come to me and ask me, I had one company. They asked me if I do trade shows for them, and I asked them to send me stuff for the product and reference letters. And they're like, "What?" And I said, "Well, you're applying, right?" And they're like, "We're applying." And it was like, "Sure, you came to me." And now I'm going to be the face of your company. The last thing I want is to be the face of a company that's disreputable, or has a bad product. I signed up early, we're talking the 80s, for a printing company. And the very first day, people came at me continually throughout the day complaining. And I went, well, I'll get the manager. And the manager sat in the back of the booth going, I hired you to fend those people off. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, you hired the wrong person. I'm not here to protect you. I was here to draw people in. No, I want to make people happy. You go make them happy. I said, well, they're not going to be happy if you don't give them customer service. And it's like, well, then you pretend to do that. And it was like, yeah, and I packed my case, didn't get paid. I didn't care. I just didn't want to be there because my name is going to be a face associated with it, face and name. Ormet, I loved. They would bring me out for the seminars when they were learning new things about their stuff, best of breed software. And they go, Shawn, we're having a seminar. You want to come for a couple of days? We'll put you up. We'll pay you. And I was like, yes, of course I want to be there. I talk of a time we were in Toronto, Canada, and the cyber bunker went down. And so they all had to run. All the sales guys, everybody ran to deal with clients. All the technical guys ran to see if they could fix it from remote sites. That left me standing in a booth. And one of the clients came that it was on my hot list that they'd been looking for 3 years. And as Catherine came in, I was like, hi, Catherine, I'm Shawn. And she said, oh, I haven't seen you ever in the office. I said, I know you've come in a couple times and you're looking at buying the product. And I know that you were supposed to meet, the CEO and Carl here. And unfortunately, they've had to go off for a business meeting. You're not going to tell them the whole system has crashed. Not a good sales technique.
Not really.
I said, they've gone off for a sales thing, but if you want, I can run you through the program. And over the next hour and a half, I gave her a full demo of everything. And I'm not tech savvy, but I can remember I'm as good as a monkey. I can remember.
I've heard that Shawn Farquhar's as good as a monkey. I've heard that.
It's a nasty rumor, but it's true. So I went through the whole thing, went through the entire demo, and as the demo was finishing, I started to do a card trick for her, and she was like, "Oh, you're very clever," and I was like, "Thank you very much." Not wanting to say, I'm the trained monkey that stands in front and draws the crowd. She was under the impression I was the salesperson. When it was over, and I had finished a couple of card tricks, out of the corner of my eye, saw the guys all coming back looking very triumphant, like a team. And all of a sudden, two broke into a run towards me. And I was like, they're panicking because they see it's Catherine. And Chris is in the forefront. Carl's right behind. Nick is coming up in the back. And I'm like, hey, guys, Catherine, right? And they're like, yeah, Catherine, we want to show you a demo. Oh, Shawn's gone through it. And Nick was going, well, did he mention? Yes. And did Carl's going, did he say yes? And they did. I'm pretty sure I did the demo for her, guys. I've done the demo before, which I'd never done the full demo. But they were going, well, what do you think, Catherine? She said, well, I was going to sign, but he doesn't have any of the papers. And I was like, so I'll show her some card tricks. And I got my value, in single days with Icon, I sold $6 million in printing equipment, and I'm not the sales guy. So when you walk
That's not too bad.
When you walk over to the regional guy from that area and say, by the way, here's the client, and here's the papers that I put together for him, and you're going to give him $40,000 in copy paper, I hope you don't mind. In return, it's $6.1 million. And the guy's going, do I got to split the commission with you? I'm like, no, not really.
That's yours.
Tell the boss that, you think that I'm well worth being here. And they're like, yeah, like I have to. Duh.
I think he knows that.
Yeah.
You said something a second ago, which I thought was kind of interesting. A lot of people who are watching this are probably either trying to break into trade shows or have just started really kind of going that way.
Grail of magic.
Yeah, that whole big thing. And I think that there's that element of, oh, I can get a trade show, I got it. I have to take it. Where you're suggesting that, if they don't, you're ultimately the final brand.
I am.
So there's the potential of, I want to say, firing a client, but saying, this is not what, yes, you want to pay me to do magic, but it might not be what ultimately Shawn Farquhar is going to be. So maybe you don't want to do it.
Is that the badge you want to wear? I mean, and maybe they're a company that wants you to stand around in a suit and recite a script instead of,
their script.
Yeah, their script
not
instead of bullet
script.
points. I've had those where the script was really well written, and I've had them where it's talking heads and as boring as death, and I've walked away from those clients. I'm really particular, and by being particular, I picked brands that I believed in, products that I really had. Ormet had the most amazing software called Presto. It was like built for a magician.
For magic presentation.
But the very first event was a friend of mine, Howard Getty, had actually got the contract. He was from Edmonton, where their head office was, and he had problems, had gone dialysis, and wasn't able to make it. So he emailed me the script, faxed me, pardon me, the script, 5 sheets of script, and then told me I was supposed to wear a tuxedo, and it would include the linking rings and the zigzag in the presentation. They wanted a little stage and a set magician piece. And I was like, okay, I'd only done a couple of trade shows in my life, and I was like, I'm cool with this. They know what they're doing. I got there. It was a sales force of 3 people that were living on their own little yacht. It was like a startup company getting started.
Okay.
And Presto was just getting going, Ormet. And I arrived, and they gave me this, big Madonna microphone to hold in front of my face. And nobody would come near me because of the microphone. They were terrified of me, just absolutely terrified. And they swung really wide. And when I did the linking ring, some people would come around. And when I finished the zigzag, bang the blades, big crowd. I'd cut my wife in half and put her back together once every hour. And as soon as I finished it, these people would just scatter. And it was like, okay, this isn't really what... So the next day, at the end of the day, I said, we're not doing really good. We're not drawing anybody in. We're like, all the big ones. And we had big ones around us, 3M and Hewlett-Packard. They were all around us. I said, all these other people are taking our clients. IBM, Big Blue was right to the other side. So there were these giant booths, 130 feet wide. And ours was a 20 by 20, just nestled in there. It was odd. And I said, we're just drawing the crowds for them, but we don't have the way to bring them in. I said, I would prefer not to dress like a magician. Can I dress like you guys? And if you got a badge that, doesn't even have to say my name, I'll be whoever's badge you have, if you have one. I'll be George for the day. I don't care. But then I can be a sales guy, and I will do magic in smaller groups. I'll bang the blades once a day or maybe twice a day if you want, and cut a girl in half or in 3, whatever you want. But I think we'll be way more effective if you just give me a list of people you hope to meet. Well, as soon as they gave that to me, I started looking at badges, looking for CIOs, CEOs, CFOs, looking for the names by region and district, and they're all color-coded and everything. I mean, it's not that hard. I start going through looking for blues, looking for that's a region, and it was like, okay, and there's a big Comdex, and I'm starting to pull the people in. By the end of the day, they're having conversations, sitting on a couch, really comfortable. I'm doing a couple card tricks. And and they were like, that's what we're going to do. We went to blue jeans and denim shirts. I switched with them, went to Dockers, I went with them all the way through. But then
It's a couple things people don't consider when they're getting into trade show work. Is one, the potential of not accepting a certain job because it's not ultimately where you want yourself to be, and 2, your ability to guide them through what they want.
Oh, definitely. The people that you should study are people like Paul Gertner, Bill Hertz, Joel Bauer. I had the misfortune of being directly across from Joel Bauer at a trade show, and the man's a monster. He's amazing, absolutely amazing, and but he's not my style. And I didn't like a lot of the things he did. They were clever. He wasn't collecting sales; he was collecting contacts. And so he'd do things like a whole different avenue. He would go, I'm going to show you something really cool. If you have your name badge, which has a little reader card, so they just swipe. He says, you have a reader card. I need to borrow them for a minute. If yours has a CIO, CFO, CEO, pass them on forward. There's 190 people watching him, so he gets about 70 cards all up to the front. They think he's going to do a trick with them, and he hands them off to the sales guy who goes to swipe them. And then he keeps them there for 30 minutes while giving him a sales pitch and a couple of magic tricks. And I was like, oh, I would be so angry, because I might have a talk to go to or real booths that I wanted to look at a product, and all he's doing is meeting his goal.
His quota.
His quota. But that said, I wouldn't be anywhere without Joel Bauer. I was fortunate enough when I was really young to sneak onto a cruise ship and knock on the door and ask the cruise magician how I got on, and he said, how'd you get here? I said, well, I kind of lied that I knew you. And he said, that's how you're going to get on cruise ships. Then I met him at a trade show, and I bought his book, Hustle, Hustle, at PCM in 1982 or 1984. 1984 when the book came out. I think it was his premiere lecture, and it was like at midnight. And I bought the book, and I went home and set up my office that way. And I ran my business. I called it my Bible of business because it had magic in that, and it explained how to make a practical office. I wore the binding off the book. It fell apart. So I went in and had the extra little glue chopped off, then had them drill press holes through to put in a binder. And when they came out of the binder, I bought those little glue round things to reinforce. And when the book was falling apart, I bought the pocketbook version of it.
So you like the book?
Yeah, I didn't agree with everything in it, but I think if you agree with everything in a book, you're sheep. There's got to be things where you you know, you got to be controversial or have your own opinion. My dad used to say opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one. Some are bigger than others, and most of them stink.
And your father knew something about magic.
Yeah, my dad was good.
And your grandfather knew something about magic.
If you win the Victoria Magic Circle Magician of the Year, you win the Farquhar Award named after my dad. And it's got hands, bronze, coming out holding a magic wand on a plank of oak that used to be one of his magic cases. And
Because it was your father,
my grandfather,
your grandfather, and your great-grandfather. So, when you get advice from somebody who has a father, grandfather, and a great-grandfather, and has been in magic, actually working cruise ships and trade shows for 20 years, you probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've been 21 years on cruise ships, but I had a first career when I was like 10 till I was 14 with my own television show and everything, and then sort of at 14 I was the oddity, so I went back to school and finished school, and then went right back into it again.
Well, there you go.